What's up, everybody? You're watching another episode of the Iron Obsession podcast. Before today's video gets started, I'd like to ask you all to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to get notifications on this channel. Please support the show by using code Anson10 at either Iron Rubber Power Gear or Granite Nutrition. Thank you. What's up, man? How you doing? Big weekend.
Good, man. Yeah, dude, I'm still like freaking pumped from the weekend.
Dude, I'm still pumped from the weekend. I'm not even the one who won.
Dude, it was so motivating too, man. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like I said it on one of my Instagram stories. I was
Mhm.
like, I set myself up to have a binge and everything after
Yep.
the show, and dude, I didn't even want it. Like, I had
Yeah.
like muffins around. I went to a Chinese buffet. I got one little plate of rice and chicken, and I was like, nah, I'm good. The next morning, I was right back doing fasted
Yep.
cardio before we left the hotel.
Same
Like,
here.
just ate on plan the rest of the day, and I think today was the only thing I've had was like a Subway sandwich today.
Yeah.
That was the only other off plan thing I had, at lunch at work. But other than that, it's been bang on, man.
Yeah, I was going to reply to that post you were talking about, and I know why that is. I know why you didn't binge because I experienced the same thing after my show. Mind you, I didn't win my class or an overall, but I went from placing dead last and everything to like almost winning. So it was a big improvement for me. So
Yeah,
when you have that feeling of victory, there's not this hole that has to be filled by food. You got your
yeah.
gratification from the win, so that's why you didn't binge.
100%, dude. That makes total sense. I didn't even think about that, but I think that's exactly what it is. You're like you're high on off that
Yeah,
win. You don't need to go like, yeah, like you said, you're not trying to fill any void or anything. Like, you're
exactly.
totally content with, you achieved what you set out to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people lose themselves is trying to use food to fill a hole that can only be filled by progress.
Yeah, definitely. And then that kills progress right there in itself. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, I'm so obsessed with progress, man. It's like because we were talking earlier on Instagram about like the mukbang challenges and stuff. You said you had thought about
Yeah.
doing one of those one day. I could never do it just because I know I'd be too much of an animal. I'd eat 10,000, 20,000 calories. I'd put on 10 pounds of solid fat in a day.
Dude, one day just fucking up 15 pounds. Yeah.
Easily. You know, they always say one cheat meal can't ruin a physique, and hold my beer, I'll show you. I can do it.
Watch this real quick. Hang on.
Yeah. But like,
Go from
I've not
show ready
had,
to.
yeah, I've not had any binges at all. Actually, I had one and it was strawberries. I had like 400 grams of strawberries. That was the closest I came to
Oh,
a
dude, you
binge.
can't. That's like 100 calories or something crazy. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
you can get away with those.
Yeah. And I did all you can eat sushi one time, but honestly, I probably only ate like 1,000, 2,000 calories in rolls because I had the rest of my food throughout the day. So,
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah,
yeah.
that's not bad at all. Especially sushi, man. That's pretty relatively clean, depending on what you
I
get. You know
can
what I'm
I
saying?
can throw down though. There have been times
Oh,
where
dude, I love some sushi, man.
yeah, I'll go to like an all you can eat or like a conveyor belt sushi place, and I'll just do damage to myself. I can't do it anymore.
You're like, all right, this is the challenge.
Yeah, speaking on food, what does that look like for you going into the rebound here? Because I'm sure you've already got like a big goal for this rebound that you're setting up.
Yeah, so my calories just basically resumed right back to what I was at before peak week.
Uh,
So I'm at like 3,500 calories. It's 300 grams of protein, about 350 to 400 grams of carbs, and then like 50 grams of fat.
okay.
So roughly 3,500 to 4,000 calories, somewhere in there.
Hmm.
And then on training days, the only difference is I just have my intra drink.
Oh, so
So
that's your
that's the only
okay.
variation I'm doing with my calories right now. Just kind of trying to get, back stabilized and
Hmm.
things like that, feeling back to 100%. And but yeah, I'm just kind of want to see how the body responds to that for like a week or two, and then start increasing calories a bit.
Yeah, you've got no rush with it too. Like I think a lot of people try to use the rebound as a time to put on as much muscle or really more as much weight on the scale as quickly as possible. But all that's going to do is get you fat. You know, a slower
Yeah,
approach I think is the way for sure. And there's going to be a bunch of weight that comes back on just from de-stressing and sleeping better,
yeah.
recovery, stuff like that. So the weight will come.
That, that's the main thing too. I wanted to recover. Like, my sleep took a pretty big dive at the end of prep, and so I want to definitely get that back online before I start like pushing
Yeah.
food. I just want to get back to feeling,
Yep.
100% before I'm just like, all right, let's
Yeah.
let's hit this off season.
But you can take that too far, and I did that. That feeling that you're talking about, I would say you should probably feel pretty normal by about 4 to 5 weeks post show, right? You think so?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I would say so.
it took me 12 to feel normal
God.
because I kept just I was, and mind you, I was eating 5,500 calories, 5,000 calories, but that's not a lot of food for me. Um, like I was losing weight throughout most of the week, and there would be a couple days where I'd have high days where I would gain weight. That'd be the only time of the week where I would gain weight, and I dropped weight on my rest days, especially because I was doing basically no carb on my rest days.
Oh God, man.
And
Yeah, I know
it
that
kept me
hurt.
lean, and I think it worked very well for progress because it put me up to I stepped on stage at 197. I got up to about 215, and I think my body composition almost looked better at 215 than it did at 197. And then past
Yeah,
215, I did start to add a little bit of body fat, but nothing crazy. And we got all the way up to I want to say it was either 237 or 240 fasted, dropped down to about 221 on the cut. Now I'm back up to about 225, being a couple weeks into the growth phase. So my weight's
nice.
all over the place. But that being said, it took a while for me. Honestly, just putting back on body fat is what made me feel normal again. And it took till about
Yeah,
220 to feel that way. So that
yeah, I
was
would say my
that's a
first prep, that was pretty much how it was for me. Like until I gained like a little bit of body fat back, I really wasn't feeling like sleep really wasn't even back to 100% until
yeah,
that point. So there's something to do for sure. That body fat, like your body kind of gets out of that fight or flight mode once
for
you
sure.
do put a little bit back on. But yeah, I'm trying to kind of take your approach, that slow approach,
Yeah.
maybe not that long,
Yeah, not that long.
not the 12 weeks, but
And I
like
also wouldn't
I'd say
recommend
a
a
good six
16
to
week
eight.
rebound in general because like the total rebound was 16 weeks long, way too long. I think like 10 to 12 is perfect. 8 to 12 really.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking like, yeah, probably the 8 to 10 somewhere in there, and then I'm
Yep.
gonna start turning things up a bit as far as off season push.
Oh, okay, so what I mean by that is I'm talking 16 weeks of being on like a gram and a half for a rebound.
Okay.
That's just so I
Okay.
went from show cycle, rebound cycle, cruise. Now I'm in my first bulk cycle for the year. If that makes sense.
So I'm doing something kind of similar.
Okay.
I'm trying something different this time though. The only thing that I'm using a gamma test, but
Yep.
just that in GH.
I did. Yeah,
So
that's
I'm
basically what
trying
I
that.
did. I did a gram of
Okay.
test and
I'm trying that
500
like
mest.
no anabolics or anything
Yeah.
added in there. I'm just trying just to like feel back to
Yeah.
100%. I feel like I've been on pretty much been on like EQ all year. So
Yeah.
because I had the first show and then had the little bridge between that and then the prep for this next one. So I was
Yeah.
like, it's gonna feel good to just be on
Okay.
bioidentical hormones
I
for a
was gonna
while.
mention I was gonna say that's really good, but honestly, you could throw some EQ into that if you wanted to because it's pretty mild on blood work. For me, my blood work will be perfect on it. But no, if you've been on it all year, definitely a little break off would be good. And a gram of test, I
Just a
mean,
little.
a gram of test is a great number. I don't see a reason to go much over or much under.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the input, like just asking, some pros and things like that. That's kind of seems to be like there 1500
Yep.
somewhere in there seems to be like the sweet spot for the super heavy class. So I'm
Yep.
like, I might as well. I've never, held it there for a while. I've
Mm-hmm.
dipped and dabbled there for like 3 to 4 weeks and then went back to 700. But
Yeah.
I figured if I'm not using anything else, just that and maybe an AI if I need to control estrogen a bit. Um, should be able to still make plenty of
Oh,
progress. I
for
already
sure.
feel like getting a little bit of estrogen back in the
Yeah.
system. So
And what does the growth look like for you? How are you approaching that?
just 8 IUs before bed.
Same here.
So
Yep.
yeah, found that to be the sweet spot for even in prep. Like
Mm-hmm.
last time I was pushing food, I noticed if I pushed that up a little bit, man, sleep actually got worse
Yeah.
and water retention just kind of went way up. So I found that 6 to 8 IUs to be the sweet spot, man, for
100%.
me.
I like 6 on a cruise, 8 on a blast.
Yeah.
Yep. And a gram of
And
test,
that does
like it's
all
like
you
right
need right
now.
there. You're
Oh,
getting all the
100%.
benefits out of that.
Yeah, and like if your blood sugar is good, you don't even necessarily need the insulin. But once the because your blood sugar is going to eventually creep up just from food,
Yeah.
not even from the growth, but the growth definitely doesn't help that. But yeah, like right now, my growth cycle, the start of it, I'm assuming will probably increase a great deal from here. But the starting point was a gram of test and 600 EQ. and I started on the 1st, so I'm like 10 days in or something like that, and I feel like today and yesterday I really like felt pretty good in the gym. I was expecting it to take a bit longer for me to really feel it because you know how long EQ is and test sip as well.
Yeah.
So, but I was kind of pleasantly surprised by how much I'm feeling that right now.
Are you do daily tens,
Yep.
don't you?
Yeah. So it's not exactly.
Okay, yeah.
It's
So
like 1050 and like 910 or something like that. Because it's
yeah,
150.
yeah.
It's
I
150
feel
a
like
day and 90 a day.
nice. Yeah, I feel like doing that's exactly what I'm doing. The 150 a day, the test, but just test the not sip. But I feel like the daily pins, man. Even with those longer esters, they kick in a lot quicker.
Yeah,
You
for
like
sure.
you actually do notice them within like, especially with EQ, like even the 2 3 week mark, you'll start noticing like some more fullness,
Yeah,
vascularity, all that good stuff. So that's probably my favorite anabolic, honestly,
100%.
after I've started using that. It's just so mild, but it does everything you need it to.
It's like a slightly bulkier version of Masteron, is what it feels like to me. But
Yeah.
I've never used Primo, so to me, like on paper, it would be like a bulkier version of Primo and what it does.
Yeah. See, I haven't used actual injectable Primo. I've just used a little bit of the Primo, the acetate,
Ace,
the
yeah.
oral version. Yeah. And I
I've
noticed
used
you do get a little bit of fullness from
yeah,
that. Like, but I would say the injectable is probably a lot different than,
yeah,
the acetate version from
yeah.
what I've seen on
I
paper and
just don't
stuff.
think I'll ever find out because I just see no reason to use that shit unless
It's too
somehow
expensive,
that's
dude.
what I was getting at. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like I can get everything I need out of this and some
exactly.
EQ. I'm all right. I don't
And
need to try
honestly,
that.
I think like 250 of Mast and 250 of EQ would do way more than even 600 of Primo.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So, but yes, I think that you're going about it good there in terms of the chemicals and the food. What does training look like for the rebound?
So training is I'm doing so it's legs, push, pull, then another push session, and then arms, and then 2 rest days.
Okay, yeah,
So
that's good.
5 day split.
Yeah,
And then a lot higher volume on the legs.
mhm.
Definitely taking the volume down on back a little bit
Yeah.
and
You
putting
don't
more.
need no more volume on your back, bro. Oh my god, like
I
that.
figured pull that down a bit. I'm doing a lot more hinging on my back days to bring the hams and glutes up a lot
Yeah,
more.
like
So
I
I
think
put my RDLs on back days, and then I'm
yeah,
just going to do like a couple pull downs, a couple rows,
yeah.
and really try to target the chest and legs, man. Chest,
Your
arms, legs.
your back is 100% at the national level, like top national level for sure. Like that back is
Thank you,
stupid.
man.
It's stupid.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, dude.
And it's wacky in person. Like your pictures really do not do you justice, man. That's what every bodybuilder wants to hear. So that's not a bad thing at all.
I think it's because I'm taller, so like
Yes.
when I'm standing by myself, I don't look, and I'm kind of proportioned,
Yeah.
somewhat. So I feel like when you see me in a picture, it's like, yeah, whatever. But then, stand beside somebody, that's where I can actually stand
Mhm.
out a bit.
Yeah, and it's like a dominant back is it depends on the person, right? Like someone like Derek, you can still see how amazing that looks by himself, but I think most dominant backs, especially if it's like the back is the main part that is dominant, not necessarily the glutes, hams as well, just let's say just the back, right? Um, in
Yeah,
a sitting alone there, it's kind of hard because you don't have that scale of width per se. You just have the view of what you see on the person. But a standout back really stands out when it's beside other backs.
yeah, yeah, I'd agree. Definitely.
And
Yeah, you can really get
for me that
that
was what
width
I
comparison.
noticed too was because back has always been one of my better parts, and it really I never really thought I had that much of a back until I stepped on stage this past time.
That's kind of how I've been. I'm like, oh yeah, it's there, and I
Yeah,
knew I had like my lats are kind of wide, but then once I started competing, I was like, okay,
yeah,
I've got a lot of width. That's like one of my strong suits is
for sure.
I can get people with the width and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and with how crazy big your frame is too, that's just going to get better.
yeah, I got a lot of work to do though, man.
Hey,
I
that's the
got to
fun part
fill
though,
it out
man.
big time.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man.
Gotta
It's
not
like
forget that because the end, the competition, everything is great, but like this right here is why most of us get into this. This is bodybuilding off season, putting on new human.
yeah, I've been honestly like I was super excited for the show but
Mhm.
I was also like salivating at the mouth to get into an improvement phase,
I'm
man. I was like,
always
I
that way.
cannot wait to just like work because you start seeing all the things that you need to really bring up when
Yeah.
you start dieting down, and you're like, fuck, man, I need to work on that. This needs to come up. So as the show got closer, I was just like, man, I'm gonna kill it here, but I can't wait to make some improvements as well. Because like you said, this is what we got into it for.
Yeah.
We want to put on size. We want to be huge. So
Yeah. So with your training there, you said higher volume. What were you doing, and what are you? And so, for example, in my rebound phases, I like to train differently than how I actually train when I'm really pushing for growth because the body's a bit more fragile, stuff like that. So
yeah,
is that what you mean? Is it just temporarily higher volume, or is that actually an approach you're going to go with forward?
it's kind of like a temporary. I think on legs I'm going to do a lot higher volume because I
Mhm.
really need to improve the leg. I need to bring up the quads big time.
Yeah,
Hams as well,
dude.
glutes. So I think
When you eventually are able to come down here, man, we will do a leg session because like that's been my hill to die on too is my legs, so we can just suffer together.
freaking annihilate each other's legs, dude. We'll try to kill each other.
I've never puked in a leg workout, but I'm looking forward to the first time.
Dude, let's do it, dude. I did one this prep. I had my high school basketball coach actually. He's in really good shape and he wanted to do a leg session with me. So we were doing, of course, it turned into a marathon because we're just trying to kill each other. We were doing RDLs till you couldn't freaking breathe anymore. And dude, I was hugging the trash can after like
Mm,
5 sets of that because it was like a reunion workout kind of thing.
yeah,
Like, oh, we haven't worked out in like 5, 6 years. Let's get one.
yeah, man.
And but other than that, man, I haven't had one in a while, so I'm
Yeah.
due for one, I think.
I've the only time I've ever puked during a workout, and I don't really think it counts, is I was a stupid kid. I had an aversion to needles when I first got into all this, so I would always like overdo it with the orals, like when I first got into it, and I didn't
Yep.
understand that super draw was really fucking toxic. So I
Oh,
thought it was a good idea. And I think I was only taking like 10 milligrams or something, but I probably took it for way too long. And I just remember this one
mhm.
day I just went into the bathroom and I just started fucking throwing my guts out in the middle of a workout. And I did not train hard back then, so it was not from the training. So that's my one
Liver was
experience.
just freaking cooked at that point, probably.
I guess. I mean, I had no other signs of that. It was honestly more likely my stomach gets really, even still, gets really sensitive to orals. So that's probably what it was. Too much or too not
Dude,
enough
I'm the
acidity.
same way, man.
Yeah.
I ran into that this prep, and I was like, "Fuck, I gotta find a better approach next prep," because I pulled injectables down a little too soon and was kind of reliant on those.
Mm,
And so I got stuck in this limbo of like combating digestion and relying on the orals essentially for the anabolic load.
yeah.
So next prep, I think I'm going to do things a little bit differently because that food ultimately is most important, man.
100%.
You just need the anabolics there, but then the food and obviously the drying out and carbon up and all that is really what brings that look.
Oh yeah, for sure. And also, as much of a buzzword as it is nowadays, but fatigue management really does matter in a contest prep. It doesn't in off season. Like the off season should all be about recovery. So like you shouldn't be fatigued in an off season, but in a prep you're going to be fatigued and you have to management. Like that's been my
Yeah,
Achilles heel. I think looking back at it now is I will get run into the ground. I will get dieted into a hole for 19 weeks with no emphasis on fatigue management by my previous person I was working with, and I think that was the problem. I'm not someone that can do that. There are plenty of guys you can put them on a fish and rice diet for 16 weeks, not give them a single refeed. They're going to stay full. They're going to keep all their size. I'm not built that way personally.
yeah. Honest to God, dude, I'm the same way. My first prep was kind of similar, just kind of ran into the ground. And
Mm,
you can even see it in my stage shots, man. I'm not even there. Like, I'm just so dead. And the look from that to this show, just being a little more aware of fatigue management and
yeah,
like, hey, I need a rest day. Digestion's kind of not doing so well. Let's make some changes. Being more mindful of that fatigue management, man,
mm,
and I know, like you said, it's a buzzword and it sounds corny, but seriously, when when you know how to push yourself, you do have to be mindful of that
mm.
because we know how to diet, we know how to do hours of cardio and train our faces off. So if we're doing all that, you do have to be mindful, especially in a prep setting when the calories are low, orals are in, liver's already stressed from other things,
Mm.
and adding that training stress on top of that,
Yeah,
you got to give yourself a break every now and then. So.
yeah.
I'd agree. That brings a better look.
Your volume should not be going up the closer you get to a show.
Yeah.
And for me, that was all certainly what happened. My volume almost certainly went up. So, You
I
live and you
did
learn.
that a little bit this prep because the weights went down, so I cranked the sets up a little bit. But then
Mm.
towards the end, I realized like, oh, that's that. I did it for like 2 weeks. I remember when we talked, I had told you I was doing that on the last
Oh yeah,
podcast,
that's right. Yeah.
and that lasted maybe like 2 weeks, and I had to immediately scale that back because I just couldn't recover anymore.
Yeah, man. I was doing 6 days of training a week for at least the last 4 weeks before the show. It's just stupid. There's just no reason for it. But
Yeah.
I was having to do my own thing with the training, and my decision making was, no one's decision. Well, I guess yours ended up being pretty decent, but most of our decision making when it comes to training, volume, fatigue management stuff is not going to be great when we're that close. That's where a coach comes in, and that's kind of getting on to my next question. You've had a lot of success being self coached. Are you looking to continue doing that, or are you going to get with somebody for your next prep or even this off season?
Right now, I'm still just doing my own thing.
Okay.
I was potentially going to work with Joe, but I just financially right now, man, everything with competing and all that is
Hmm.
just a little expensive.
Yeah.
So told him maybe at a later point in time, when I do have the extra funds to do that.
Yeah.
So that's something potentially in the future. But I've also been talking back and forth. A guy just turned pro actually at the Arnold Amateur. His name's Andrew Ooze. I don't know if you know him.
It
Me and him have
sounds
been
maybe
friends for a couple
familiar.
years.
Oh, cool.
He's probably going to help me just like oversee a little bit, kind of
Like a
collaborate a little bit, maybe
like a
just let me
second
check
eye.
in with him. Yeah, exactly. Because I told him I don't want to say I'm uncoachable, but I really like being hands on with my own thing.
Yeah.
So I really just need somebody to check in with, somebody to help me with my labs a little bit, and then just basically tell me if I'm getting too fat. I mean, and then I know how to diet, I know how to do cardio,
Yeah.
I know what foods work for me.
Yep.
And then obviously maybe a little bit of help with the gear and stuff like that. But I feel like for the most part, I've got it together, and I'm
Yeah.
really focused. So
You
that's
definitely have had the most success as a self coach athlete that I've ever seen at this level. Because I think at like the higher level, I think there are some pros that could like for example, a guy like James Hollingshed probably should coach himself. A guy like Nick Walker probably should coach himself because they have all these
yeah,
conflicts. But typically, people more down here at this level don't have as much experience, which obviously leads to less proper decisions being made. But so far, you've done it pretty well. So if it's working, why break it?
yeah, exactly. And I feel like just maybe having that input from somebody just to make sure that I am making the right decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm not overdoing or underdoing anything because I think that was my problem at the beginning. I was just way too safe with everything, like
Hmm.
way too mild for the first like year or so. Knowing what I know now, I would have probably pushed things a little
Better
bit
to be
more,
too mild
being the
than not
bigger
mild
guy.
enough.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, especially when you're learning.
Yeah.
But now that I've, goals have grown a little bit and
Yeah.
trying to turn pro, so I'm like, all right, let's push things, but in a
I
safe manner. So
I think that's a good way to do it, man. Because like I did more milligrams per week when I was like 50 pounds lighter, man. Like if you do abuse stuff and your training and your diet isn't there, it's just a waste of money. So
yeah,
I don't think you missed out on anything.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. It does. I feel like you get a lot more out of it when you're training and everything is
100%.
perfected. So I probably would have just been combating side effects at
Yeah,
that
and
point.
I'm someone who doesn't really get side effects, so I didn't have to deal with that for the most part, thankfully. Like, but I was like 220 pounds, like 16, 17% body fat on a gram and a half a test just for no reason. And other
You were
stuff
taking
in
that
there.
much test.
Yeah, and on other stuff too, just for no reason. No reason at all.
Holy
It
hell.
did nothing for me. It did nothing for me at all. And then I finally just can't I can't afford to do this. I had to just stop, go more moderate with everything, and that taught me. Okay, I got to really, and this is way before working with Joey, but this is my last off season. I had to really kind of get a hold of my training style and mainly my diet. I would say looking back at it, I thought I was training correctly back then. I wasn't. But the diet, I got pretty serious with the diet. I didn't really take too crazy cheat meals. And if I did, I had ways to combat it, like doing, fasted cardio, being responsible with that every day, stuff like that. So I honestly think the training and the diet are first and foremost, no matter the situation. They have to be on point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man. And yeah, because if you think about it, like even when you're on a cruise, if you have those things buttoned up, you can still make improvements. You can
Yep.
still get a little bit stronger. Just having, your training and diet 100%. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw the little cameo there.
Popped in here to grab some.
Yeah. So with the self coaching thing, I guess you can kind of you already have a timeline for everything. Well, what does that look like? How long are you gonna do this off season for potentially?
Um, I'm probably gonna do like this, just what I was telling you about with the test only and things like that. Probably
Hmm.
the next 8 weeks.
Okay.
Then start ramping things up. And I was thinking maybe like March, start dieting at that point,
Hmm.
and start dieting for like a national level show. See what I can. I don't know. I haven't looked to see what the
Oh,
schedule is for next year and
so
when they all line up,
are you
but
still gonna
I think there's
be
some in the.
you still gonna be qualified for that going into next? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I should be still qualified for
Oh, cool.
next year
That's cool.
because I got the one qualification at the Virginia State Show and then this one too. So I think it qualifies you for the following season.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but if not, I'll have to do another one and
Yeah.
see what happens.
I mean,
Do another regional.
half the time at these regional shows, isn't it? I don't even think you have to win the overall. I think it's not only class. Isn't it like second place in a class at some of these shows?
I think so. I think if you get like second, you
Yeah.
can you can still go with the qualification.
Yeah. So like it's literally impossible for you not to qualify for a national show. Like I mean, first
That
of
would
all,
absolutely
yeah.
blow ass if I won these two shows and then next year I'm like I can't put it together to get qualified for nationals.
No, but I'm saying
That would be
I never
that'd
see a
be devastating.
situation because first of all, example this past weekend you were the only person in the super heavyweight class. That's common. So
Yeah,
that alone
I've noticed that, man.
there's almost never
That's crazy.
more than two guys in the super heavies. Classic has kind of taken away that crop because of the heights being they fit in certain heights fit into that category.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That takes the taller guys in there.
Yeah. Well, so on that topic, what's your weight cap for classic again? I think I asked last time.
It is 232, I think,
That's
at six
crazy.
one.
And you were
Yeah,
how much this past weekend? Were you on stage?
I was 265 at the weigh-in, so I was probably 258 on stage, somewhere in there if I dropped the water.
Holy shit, dude! I know you were big, but I didn't think you were that. That's crazy.
Dude, I honestly didn't think I was going to be that heavy either because I freaking dug down to like, I mean, I was definitely depleted, but I dug down to like 248. I was a string
And
bean,
like you were
but then I
definitely full
started filling up
blown.
from that.
Like this wasn't a flat 250. You said 258, 250 something.
Yeah, probably about 257, 258 on
Let's
stage.
just say 260. Fuck it. So you were a
Yeah,
filled out 260. You weren't like flat or nothing. Like yeah, that's crazy. That is a huge
yeah,
weight. Wow. So yeah, no,
dude. And
you're not making classic. That's for sure. You're not making classic.
no,
I figured
I
you were gonna
wanted,
say like it's like
honestly,
250, 240, something like that. But no, you're nowhere. No, it's not possible. You'd have to cut off. You'd have to do some dangerous shit to make that weight.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would, I don't know how that would work because I even for that look there, I had to use some diuretics and stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know how I could get even any lower.
So
I don't
if
know
you're
unless I just
comfortable with
dropped
talking
gear
about
way
that,
low.
I think that would be interesting because a lot of people don't talk about diuretics.
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind talking about them,
Okay.
man.
So what was your whole
Definitely
approach there?
don't because I feel like people should be somewhat open
Yeah.
with it just so people are aware,
So
going
so my
into
very
shows.
first show, I took diuretics, but it was like 6 milligrams of a hydrochlorothiazide. It was nothing.
That was smart. That was a smart move.
My water got cut for 26 hours though.
Ooh,
Yeah.
see, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
would be smart.
water tapered, but this is where I fucked up and talking to just some of the, I don't want to put his name out there,
Yeah.
but talking to the pro that was guest posing, he gave me some really sound advice.
Oh, okay, cool.
Should never cut water on show day to zero,
Yes, especially not if
basically, and
not if
that's
diuretics are in play for sure. Yeah.
and yeah, and I told him that that's I actually used the night before I used the whole 25 milligrams of hydrochlorothiazide and woke up bang on.
Mhm.
But then I was like, okay, how do I bring this look to the stage? Like, how do I hold this look through the day? That's kind of where that was the only part where through this whole prep where I was like, wish I had a coach for this
Mm,
situation, but this is where I learned, and this is how I learn essentially. So I was scared to even drink water,
mm.
because I was like, I'm super dry. So I was just basically eating dry carbs all the way through to the stage. And then when I got to the stage, I was like, holy hell, dude! I was so dry and like just no water on my body at all. I was cramping up pretty bad. So yeah, learned a lot on that one for the next
Yeah,
show.
I
But
think it all worked out though, because what that did is it almost created a super compensation for the night show, and you were just filled to the brim.
yeah, I think so because I got a meal in. I had some like I had a meal. I actually had a grilled fish sandwich and fries, and then a couple cups of water from. This was that actually went to Hooters. So
Mm.
ate that and then filled out a little bit. What else did I have? Rice cakes, a little bit of honey, some salt.
Mm.
Um, definitely, I spilled a little bit for sure for the night show, so I wasn't 100% happy with that look, but I held it together somewhat, I think.
Yeah, well, so what I would say about the spillage is your actual physique did not look spilled. The only thing that told me that you had gone a bit too much on the carbs or something like that was just that you were sweating. That was it.
Yeah, yeah, I started sweating really bad.
But I think
And I
you start
think
sweating for the most part pretty much after they were already done comparing you. So it was like,
yeah, it was for like the pictures at
yeah,
the end or whatever. They had to like I really appreciated that they did this at the
yeah.
show. Though this shows you they really care about the
Oh, Chris
athletes.
is great.
They called me off the stage to wipe me off and
Yep.
everything,
Yeah,
so that I
Chris.
looked good in the picture
I
for the show.
can't remember his last name. I think it's like Holdsworth or something. But Chris, yeah,
Hollingsworth.
yeah, Hollingsworth. Yeah, dude, he's awesome. He's tanned me at both of my shows
Yep.
that I've done, and he's freaking unit, man. He's super cool.
Dude, he's awesome, man. He's so cool backstage
Oh
too,
yeah,
man. He makes everything super smooth,
yeah.
like in good spirits, making jokes and stuff the
I
whole
was just
time.
about to
So I was
say
like,
that.
man, this is the man right here.
Oh yeah,
Definitely like how he runs shows.
yeah. And speaking of people that were kind of running the show, did you talk much with Jimmy Sweet, head judge?
I did not. I talked to him a little bit at the
Mm.
weigh-ins and stuff. Um, I want to send him whenever they post the stage, like the final stage pictures or whatever, they put a
Oh.
thing out where we can email them and get
Mhm.
feedback. So I was planning on sending him an email and
Yeah.
kind of getting his input on. Obviously, I know the things I need to bring up, but
Mhm.
just see what he says about getting to
Yeah.
the next level and things like that.
I would you don't even need to email him, man, dude. Just send him a DM on Instagram. I did that, and he got back to me like within an hour or two. And I'm not saying obviously he's the head judge at this one, so it's different. He was a side judge, not a head judge at my show, so I'm sure he's gotten a million DMs and stuff. But just shoot him a DM. He'll get back to you pretty soon. He's a super cool dude. I was actually really happy to see him being the head judge at that show because he's been a secondary judge at both of the shows I've done, and I always felt like out of all the judges that judged me, he had like the best eye, and I obviously like I didn't win any of those shows, and I still thought that I always could see why he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, he seemed like he really like enjoys bodybuilding
Yeah.
and enjoys being a solid judge. Cause like at the weigh-in, just when I weighed in, I had like hoodie on and everything, and just him seeing the scale number, he was like, "Dude, are you peeled under there? I cannot wait to see this, man!" Like the excitement he had, I'm like, "Oh, this dude likes bodybuilding. He's
Yeah,
not
man.
just here just to be here. Like he loves bodybuilding." So
Yeah, man.
that's super cool to know that that's who's judging your shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we
I
got
definitely
a
need to
really
shoot
good
him a
crew.
message though. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that. I didn't even think about it. I'll shoot him a message on Instagram.
Yeah, man. He's super super responsive. He has had nothing but nice things to say to me every single time I've talked to him. Super humble dude.
Yeah, he seems super cool.
Yeah. So you basically kind of lined out your off-season approach there. Do you basically just go into like a cruise or a health phase, whatever you want to call it, whenever blood work calls for it? Is that kind of the approach?
That wasn't at first, but kind of now. That's
Mm.
going to be the approach moving forward because through the whole prep, I got bloods at like what was I about 8 weeks out, and during that time, my labs had actually improved
Yeah.
from the last cruise point. So I was like, okay, I was on like 1.7 grams at that point,
Mm.
and it was better than when I was on the cruise. Granted, I was using SLU and I was using some Retta,
Yep.
but I
Yeah.
truly think if you're mindful and using some of these peptides that we have to our advantage now, and
Dude,
at our disposal. I think you can continue to
I
improve labs
I
and
can't wait.
still keep the anabolics in play.
Dude, Retta and Slew did not exist to me when I did my contest prep. I can't wait. It's gonna be a game changer. And then you have all these other ones too, like Mott C, and there's a million different ones. But man, Retta would
I
be.
haven't tried Monty.
I haven't either. I've heard it's kind of more something that you need to use in a contest prep. I don't think it does much in an off
Yeah,
season setup. But like I'm someone that's super food focused, and right now being on 1 milligram of Retta a week, I'm at like I'm hungry. I can eat all my meals like clockwork, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm ready to eat, but it's not like consuming every thought. Like a couple
yeah.
years ago, I would not be able to be sitting here with you having this conversation because I would be so consumed in watching the clock ready to eat. Even if I'm eating like
What you were gonna
six
eat
thousand
next?
calories.
I know exactly how you are. What you mean though, dude. That was kind of one. My blood sugar's always been a little wonky, and that's something that usually creeps up pretty quickly when calories do get high. So
So
that was something that really intrigued me with it. But then also, I do get that food focus, or I have
yeah.
in the past.
So
Um,
I'm wearing the
which is
CGM.
interesting for this rebound because I haven't even put it back in yet, and I don't have that food focus right
Oh,
now.
that's
So I'm
awesome.
interested to see how this goes through the rebound. If maybe I just used it long enough, it kind of broke that mindset of
Maybe so.
food focus, this prep and stuff. I don't know. We'll
That,
see.
and it also has a long ass half life, so maybe there's that.
Maybe that too. Maybe it's still in.
Yeah, but I'm using this CGM, and on 1 milligram of Retta, 8 units of growth. And again, I'm also someone who normally has some blood sugar issues. I'm gonna pull up my phone right now and see what my blood sugar is at. If I'm guessing, I'm gonna say 80 something, mid 80s. 94. Okay, so a little bit higher than I figured, but still like again, 94. I've had 5 meals today, and I ate.
Yeah, and if you took a couple sips of water and walked around,
Yeah.
it'd probably be in the 80s.
Oh, for sure. And I ate not too long ago. It's 7. I think I ate at like 5:40, something like that.
Oh, dude, you're doing
Yeah.
good then, man. You're
Yeah.
doing really good.
But I'll look on it and it'll regularly be like 70, 80, like an hour after a meal, something like that. Um, yeah,
Nice.
it's a lot of, especially if you're going to do the self coaching thing. I think that would be a really good tool for you to have is the CGM. You go to Walmart, pick one up for like $45. The last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I saw yesterday I was walking through Kroger and I saw they had the little sticks
Yeah.
or whatever that you stick on yourself. I
Mm,
was like, oh, you can get them right here now. So
yeah.
I probably will do that, especially during this rebound into the
Mm,
off season, because then like, all right, I need to pull back food or
yep.
I need to implement, Lantus or whatever it may be at that point.
Yeah, and it's been interesting because I would assume I'm not sure. Am I doing? I think I'm on like 680 carbs, something like that. That sounds right. 680, close to 700. It's weird because I get right now's food mixed up with my highest food from like 8 weeks ago when we were on that pushing phase because that was like 6.5 and it was like 1,000 grams of carbs. On that, I needed
Dude, you're
Lantus.
putting it down, dude. You're eating
Yeah,
good, man. That's
yeah.
awesome.
That was back then. Food's been bumped up every week so far in this growth phase, and I assume it's probably going to happen again. Weight dropped a bit this morning and the day before that. It just seems like my body is kind of burning through everything right now, which is good. It's a good spot to be in.
That's a great spot to be, man.
Yeah, especially like what.
A metabolic freaking machine over
Yeah,
there.
I'm terrible at math. What is May, like the fourth month of the year or something like that?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like 5 months. I'm like 5 months post show, man, and I'm still having all this happen.
That's awesome, dude. That
Yeah,
is awesome. Yeah, so and you're still able to keep going. I feel like that is where you're gonna make those like solidified
yeah.
long-term gains that you can dig in a deficit and they're not going anywhere. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like it's not those temporary it's gonna be solid tissue because
Yeah, and
you're holding it and you're
in the past on a cruise, my body would just go to complete shit, man. But this time around, and I'm sure the training and the diet, everything, and I took a bit more of an aggressive cruise this time as well. I'm sure all of that plays into it, but I don't know. Like my look stayed. So like my peak low weight for the show was like I think in prep the lowest weight I saw was like 185. Stepped on stage at 197, so I carved back up like 12 pounds. Um, Body composition, like I was mentioning earlier, probably got better up until about 215, and then started to add a little bit of fat, mostly water though, up until about 235 to 240, something like that. Then we pulled back on this cruise, and I really enjoyed kind of doing a little bit of a mini cut during the cruise phase, and that dropped me down back to about 220. But that being said, you go from 185 to 220. That's still a shit ton of weight. What is that, like 45 pounds or something?
Yeah, it's 40 something pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm 45
Yeah,
pounds
you're
up
doing good.
from my show or peak low weight in prep. I still have that 45-pound gain. Then we pulled back to that because I think it was actually like it was like 60 or something with that 240 number. We pulled back a little bit, but we've still got 45 left over from that. And now I can go into this next cruise phase, or last phase rather, gain even more tissue and have it be more quality because insulin sensitivity is better now. Food is a little bit lower. So, for example, if we just kept cranking there, my food would be at 10,000 calories, 9,000 calories, something. Whereas now we pulled
Yeah.
back to 5, slowly ramping it back up. Maybe now I get to 7 or 8 at the end of the off season, not 10. As much as I would love to eat 10, that's not going to be good for keeping a small waist.
Yeah. God, dude, that is so much damn food, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what would happen if my calories got that high, but I've never given myself that chance. So I'm actually really trying to do something similar to what you're doing.
I
Like
think as long as your
really to be able
output
to
is high, you'll be good. And like you've got a ton of mass on your frame, man. Like when you told me you were your diet here for the post show is like I think you said 35 or you say 4,500 calories on training days.
35,
Yeah,
35 or 4,
yeah,
somewhere in there.
like that. I'm surprised by it. I'm surprised you're not needing more food just from like the sheer size of you.
I probably do, but I'm really trying to like stay super tight right here
Yeah.
because, dude, I just feel like my waist, and this is something too that maybe the Retta played a part, but I feel like my obliques toward the end of prep just started wanting to like push out. Normally, like if all the way through, maybe it was the orals too, could have been that.
Mm.
But dude, all through prep, man, my waist was actually like small. And then towards the end, I feel like some of my stage pictures, I was just like, what the fuck is going on here, man? It doesn't look like it does on my check-ins or anything like
Mm.
that. So that kind of maybe that's more of the motivation too to really stay tight here. And that's maybe why I don't have that food focus as well because I'm like
Yeah.
I want to fix this before I start
Mm.
pushing food and stuff.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. Waist control has always been a really, really important thing for me. I want to gain as much muscle as possible, but I think the waist has to stay tight because if you gain 2 inches on your legs, but you gain an inch on your waist, you didn't really make much progress, right?
Exactly. That
So
proportions are what's everything.
for me, I personally, and I don't know what your milligrams went up to on the Retta, but me, I've never done more than 1 milligram a week, and I don't notice any issues on that. But I'm taking the proper supplements with it. I'm doing ox bile, digestive enzyme twice a day to kind of help motility stay moving, things like that. But
Yeah.
the, what I do notice
Really think
was
I think it was more so the orals because I
yeah,
never noticed like I went up to 2 milligrams. I would just do a milligram Monday, milligram Friday,
mhm,
and never had an issue eating all my food. Never had like I could pull a vacuum at the end of the
yeah,
day and hold it for 20 seconds. But once the orals started creeping up at the end, I feel like
yeah.
that could have definitely played a part.
That makes
Um,
sense. That
and
makes sense.
with some training there and all that, I think it was a little bit of a concoction of
Could be.
bad digestion.
Yeah, and like I don't notice the waist thing from growth or Retta, and I can say that because on the cruise I stayed on growth and Retta, but I stayed off of insulin, and there's still no insulin in play. But towards the end there, when I was around that 240 fasted mark, my waist for sure had gotten a little bit bigger. But the thing is, the moment I took out the Lantus, it went away. Like
Went away.
within a couple days, it's almost like it's literal water in the stomach.
I think it is, man. It's like it's water in between the organs and
Yeah.
it's kind of pushing the organs up against, that's what makes your obliques push out a little more and all that
Mhm.
stuff. I think it really is like water just within.
For sure. If I ever notice my obliques starting to do that, like you know how you can look in the mirror at the end of the day if you see your obliques are just like a little too far out than how they should be. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If I notice that the next day, I'll be like, okay, I need to wear a waist trainer today just to make sure everything stays tight.
Yeah. I love those things, dude. Those are a
I
game
hate them.
changer for sure.
I hate them, but I use them.
Yeah, I hate it, but I love the result.
Yeah, the more important thing though for waist control for me was actually getting out of a waist trainer and focusing on vacuums and also planks. Planks have been huge for me in my waist control. In the past, I didn't realize this was an issue, but in my quarter turns, I would always pull a vacuum in. I wouldn't flex my abs down on it. And, in classic, which is what I was doing, a lot of people do that. So I never really thought of it as being a weird thing. It's just how I always played myself. But now moving up into open, I'm like, okay, how do these guys do their poses differently? And I looked at it, it's like, oh, they're crunching down on their abs. I should try that. And I couldn't do it. Like my entire body was shaking just from crunching down on my abs like that. So planks taught me to really keep the abs not only contracted, but keep them sucked in tight. Because when you're doing a plank, you're not letting your stomach hang out on the floor. You're keeping it drawed up and flexed. That's been
Yeah.
huge for me. So I'll
I
do
actually
10.
started doing those towards the end of prep
Mhm.
because I've heard somebody else saying they do that for their waist control,
Yeah.
and I always do the vacuums. So I was like, let me throw those. I do vacuums and dead bugs. I don't know if you know what those are,
Yeah.
but then I started doing the planks as well. Probably the last like 3 weeks. I could see where those because you have to actually breathe too as well while you're holding the abs contracted.
100%.
So that helps a ton for stage. So I'm gonna try to definitely keep those in play this whole
Yep.
growth phase for sure.
Yeah, I do 10 sets of as long as possible vacuums. Normally ends up being anywhere from 10 to 20 depending on, how digestion is doing and stuff like that. So I'll do 10 sets of vacuums, then I'll do anywhere from 3 to 5 sets of a minute plank. Those are brutal.
That's That's good. I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's some tough money right there.
Yeah, that routine takes about 20, 30 minutes at most. And I'll do that in the morning and then I'll do it again at night. So,
Oh, that's awesome. So you're doing it on an empty stomach and
yeah.
then a full one at the end of the day too. That's
Yep.
good. Yeah, you're gonna be able to control the hell out of that waste then.
Yeah, and it's been great for me. I've already seen it pay dividends just in like my off season posing,
That's awesome.
and I've
Yeah,
also
I
just
feel
been
like that's
focusing on
gonna
abs in general, just training them too.
yeah. That's another thing, man. I never used to do until, this between let's see, the last show and this show, I've just been a little bit more mindful of actually doing some ab work.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from the vacuums and the planks and dead bugs, but
Mm-hmm.
actually doing some weighted crunches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like leg
Don't want to get
raises.
carried away with anything too heavy, but something to get a good contraction.
Yeah, when I go too heavy on the abs, I definitely do notice a little bit of development there, and you don't want your abs to be too developed because it's just going to create a wider waist.
Yeah,
Obliques are not.
yeah,
Even just the upper and lower area of the abdominals, that'll still make to a bigger waist from the side, because like bigger obliques, you're going to make a bigger waist from the front, but we still don't want it to be too big from the side either, obviously.
yeah. You still want to have that nice like diamond shape from the
Yeah,
side.
that almost like that V shape, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, or I guess it's more like a check because it's going up like that, right? Because then the
yeah.
waist would cut off. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, one thing I noticed at this show, they didn't actually make us do any quarter turns.
Did
They called us straight into a
huh?
into side poses every time. We never
Oh,
I practiced my quarter turns like a
well,
lot for this to
here's
have them on the money, and
here's the thing
they
though.
just called like a side chest or side try every time they turned us to the side.
Were you in the overall at your first show? Because this was your second show. Were you in the fight for the overall your first show?
Yeah, I won the overall at the first show too.
And oh damn, okay, so you've won. Jesus, man, you've won two overalls already. Jesus Christ, that's even better.
Yeah,
Okay,
two
so
overall.
they did make you do the quarter turns in that first overall. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, yeah, we did them in that one. Like
Uh,
yeah, that was like some of the poses that they wanted to see you in. And I
okay.
noticed this one, it was maybe it was because it was bodybuilding or open bodybuilding or whatever. They're just like, I just put them right in a side pose.
That could be true. And I also think too, I'm gonna be real, I think they already knew who their overall was gonna be before you guys even got up there. Like and another thing too, I noticed speaking of that, dude, you barely had time to go walk back to like, stand in the lineup before they announced your name as the overall. Like you had to like flip mid walk.
I hit the UE as soon as I got
Yeah.
up there. I was like, oh, okay.
Like they immediately called your name. There was no pageantry with it at all. So like, I mean, I think they knew you were gonna win. Probably after prejudging, they most likely assumed you were gonna be on top there. Just because, dude, someone who's almost 260 pounds on stage, and you're the only super heavyweight. So that means, yeah, because I did a podcast with Jaden, the guy who won the overall for Classic at my show. I did the podcast with him last night, and we were talking about some of the weekend, and I said something along the lines of I was basically talking about how you were in really good condition, but you were also probably outweighing people by 50 or 60 pounds. And then I kind of like recanted on that. I'm like, that's a lot of weight. Maybe not that much. But now you're saying what you're saying. You actually were like 50, 60 pounds bigger than most of those guys in the overall, and you were just as conditioned, if not more conditioned. So they knew you were going to win it, most likely.
That's a great feeling, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was my main focus too, is just make sure I come in shape. If I come in shape, I feel like I got a fighting chance.
Pretty much, because like
But if
even
I'm not, I don't look
yeah.
too good. So I gotta make sure I'm in shape.
Well, I've never been in proper shape, so it's a thing. Like my first show, I was too depleted, plus just had no muscles. So you're not going to look good at 168 pounds at 5'9". But and then the second show is spills. So I've yet to really nail it, and this is something too I was talking about with Jaden. It's gotta feel good to know that you can nail it. You can just prep for a show. It's like, okay, this or that is going to be different, but no matter what, I know that I'm going to bring a fully peeled out look to the stage. That's got to be a really good feeling, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and a lot of the uncertainty. Because for me,
Yeah.
going into this next prep, I have faith in my coach, and I have faith in the approach that we're going to take. But I've never been peeled out of my mind or peaked properly. So it's like there's going to be some doubt in my mind because of that.
Just that unknown. It's
Yeah.
going to create a little bit of anxiety, but I feel like you're in good hands, man.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
you've done it time and time again, and
Yeah. And
got the right
honestly,
mindset. And,
worst case scenario, if like I was homeless tomorrow and couldn't afford to pay for coach or anything, I actually am confident that I think I could bring myself in better than what I've had these past two times. Worst case scenario, but God, fuck that. I don't want to do that. Like honestly, the self coaching thing you're doing is very admirable, and it is super badass. But I couldn't do it. I'm too much of a head case. I'd be doing 8 hours of cardio on the stairs, bro.
it's scary sometimes, man. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes through the prep, it was like you don't know if you're going too far, if you're not doing enough. So yeah, it's definitely was a learning experience, but it built my confidence, and I think I learned a lot through that to take
100%.
just to be 10 times better next time, because I did a lot wrong, to be honest with you, or not wrong, but
You could have done it better.
not as optimally as I
Yeah.
could. Yeah, exactly.
So speaking on that, we were talking about this a bit after the show in person. But dude, you got in shape quick.
Yeah,
So what was
and
there
that
any
was the quickest.
was there anything that like went on there to make you get in shape super quick, or like what, like from our last podcast to show day, what happened to make that transformation? Because it's like legit.
Um, Really, I started cranking the cardio pretty hard after that show,
Or
because actually I was watching the podcast and I was like, dude, I look pretty fat on the podcast. Like, I was like, this is not good. I know I'm not in shape by my face, and I could see like my shoulders weren't quite capped or anything. Um, but some of the other parts of my body that I was looking for condition looked okay. So, but I was like, we're just not there. So I started doing double cardio sessions, up the slew a little bit, up the Clint a little bit. Um,
what does
I
that
was
look
doing 40 in the I was doing 40 in the morning, 40 at night,
like? Oof.
with the cardio,
Oh,
and then
okay.
the slew.
I thought you meant
Oh
Clint.
no, not no, no. The Clint, I did take the Clint up to 120 for like a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
but
and then the
not
slew
before
was
bed
at
though, right?
no, that
Okay.
was all fasted. No, I took that all fasted, and then the
Yeah.
slew was at like 2.5 milligrams, I think.
Oh wow, that's a decent chunk. Well,
Um,
not compared to some people, but
yeah, I've been hearing this stuff like 20 milligrams and stuff like
to
that. I'm
me
like,
that's a lot,
I got a lot out of 2.5 milligrams. I was
bro.
sweating my nuts off like I was off of Molly or something. So I was
Bro,
like, good
one
for
of
me.
the friends of the show, Frenchie, he's doing 50 milligrams 3 times a day.
Oh my God,
And
dude.
I was talking to him
Like,
about, like, that's
is he just like
uncharted waters.
sweating profusely?
I don't know. I mean, he's diced. He's inside out peeled, so it's working. But I was talking to him. I was like, man, these are uncharted waters. Like, I experiment. I've done a lot of dumb shit in my life, but I've never been the first to do it.
No, yeah, I don't want to be the first guy doing all that.
Yeah.
That's a lot, dude.
Mad respect though,
But
because someone has to.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And from what I've been hearing is like with these rat studies, the effective dose that would equate to what a human needs to take is something astronomical
Yeah,
like that. But
that doesn't
I
make
feel like I
sense.
got a lot out of 2.5 milligrams, man. Like I
Exactly.
remember the first day I bumped it up to that, and I'm sitting down on the toilet, hadn't even started my day. I'm sitting on the toilet to go to the bathroom, and I'm like just pouring sweat head to toe, like profusely. So,
Now, I don't get that.
um,
I don't get that from
yeah, man.
500. The highest I've taken it is either 500 or 600. I don't get that from that, but I notice 5 to 600 working for sure metabolically, like body composition, how food is partitioned. So I could see like 500, and I think 500 for an off season is probably a good place to be, like 1,000
Yeah.
at most. But I'd say like 1,000 to 2,000, maybe like 1,500 is a really good spot for slew. And not to mention, man, this stuff is not cheap. I don't understand how people are affording to do that.
Yeah, it's not cheap. That's for
It's
sure.
it's like three hundred
That is for
dollars
sure.
for a bottle of the high
I've been
dose stuff.
seeing I've been seeing on Amazon you can get the raw powders. I don't know if you've looked on there. I
I
don't know
don't
how
I don't know if I trust
tried and true that is,
that.
and I don't know how accurately I could dose that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll probably just stick to the tablets.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I just don't see a reason to take it that high. I mean, hey, if the price comes down on it, I could see a reason to take it high like that. But I just don't see, when we know that, like like you're saying, 2.5, or 1.5, something like that works really well. Why are we going to take it that far?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I think the same
Yeah,
thing
that
can be
you
said with
said he's
everything in
taking one.
bodybuilding. You know?
Yeah, and it's always somebody. Like you said, somebody's always got to try it out and take it that far.
Yeah.
But and who knows, maybe one day it'll come out and be like, what we're taking is just like a freaking drop in the bucket of what's actually working.
I
And
don't know.
but I feel like I'm getting something out of it, man. Or
Yeah,
I
for sure.
was when I was taking it.
Yeah, for sure. Like it just seems like a safer, cleaner feeling version of Clint is what I would describe it as.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with
Or
that.
almost
It's
almost like thyroid actually. It's almost like a thyroid without the heart palpitations.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. It's like a clean energy. Like you
Yes,
feel like you're just optimally like absorbing things, and
for
I don't
sure.
know how to explain it. It's like a
It's
clean
hard to
burn.
explain. It's super
You
hard
don't
to
feel
explain.
stemmed up and like all jittery and stuff. You just
No,
feel like alert.
I had ran out for like a half a day, so I had to end up taking my dose at last night instead of yesterday morning, and I went to sleep fine, no issues. Whereas
Yeah.
if I did that with Clin or thyroid, and for some reason, dude, I don't know if there's reasoning behind this, but the previous coach I worked with would always have me take all of my thyroid and usually half of my Clin before bed.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and sleep was already not good. I had to take trazodone just to be able to sleep on all that shit, man.
Let's get the heart stemmed up real quick
Yeah,
before you lay
before
down
bed.
to sleep.
And
That's
I
a
understand,
great
like
idea.
on paper, technically you don't want to take thyroid around caffeine, right? So that part kind
Yeah.
of makes sense. But the Clin, I don't get the Clin. That makes no sense.
No, not at all. Granted,
Yeah,
it does have like a longer half life, so I guess
exactly.
in theory, if you were dosing it at the same time every day, your sleep would be impeded the same no matter what. But
Yeah, there's gonna be
with a
that
stimulant, still just
temporary spike. Yeah,
that peak, yeah, right there. So it's like, yeah, why not do that before in the morning,
yeah.
not before bed?
And not to mention, if you
With
do
the
it directly
thyroid,
before bed or directly before fasted cardio, rather, you're going to get some acute effects of extra fat burning and partitioning.
yeah, definitely. With the thyroid, I found a good time. I always wake up like an hour or two
Hmm.
before it's actually time for my alarm to go off.
Yeah,
I've always found that I keep it beside the bed or in the bathroom or whatever, and I just take
yeah.
it then.
Joe talks about this a lot, and I think like on paper, scientifically, probably the best times of day to take your thyroid and to take your growth hormone are in the middle of the night, like when you get up to pee. I can't do it. I'm too OCD. I'd freak out. Like oh, what if I sleep all? By the way, I'm someone who wakes up like 5 times a night to piss, so it's never gonna happen. But I'm like, oh, I'm gonna not wake up, or I'm gonna forget to take it in the middle of the night or something like that. So I can't do it. I take growth before bed. I'll take the thyroid before bed, so that way it's away from.
Yeah.
And it's T4. Like T4 is not gonna give you that palpitation
Oh
effect.
yeah,
T3 will
yeah. You're
will
good
do
with
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably totally fine. I
Yeah.
do the same with the growth though, right before
Yeah.
bed. feel like that's the best way.
Yeah, man. I've done I've done, what is it, 8/4, because yeah, 2 IU shots. I've done that pre fasted cardio, pre workout, post workout, before bed, and it not only is it a pain in the ass, it's just not as effective as doing it all before bed. That peak, that
Yeah,
big spike, that is what you're looking for, at least in a bulking phase. On paper, I kind of do like the idea of splitting up at least just twice in a contest prep for getting a little bit of more lipolysis throughout the day. Because the reason we don't want to do that in off season is because we're going to create insulin resistance with the amount of food we have to push doing that. But I don't see how that could happen in a contest prep. At least
yeah,
maybe in the beginning it could when food is still high, but once you're really burning and you're going hypo from being low blood sugar, I don't see 4 units of growth first thing in the morning hurting you. 4 before bed, four
yeah.
first thing in the morning.
I tried that a little bit this prep, just here and there. Like I was never like I'm doing this fasted, but a
Yeah.
couple mornings I would take 2 or 4 units before fasted cardio. But
Mhm.
mainly it was majority of the time it was the 8 IU before bed.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And
'Cause
that
like you
technically
said, when you're in
should
prep,
transfer over to your fasted cardio in the morning too. So there is that.
yeah, that's true.
I cut you off there. Sorry.
Yeah, man. No, you're good, man. I've just kind of came to like the same realizations and tried some of the same things that you have. So I think it's kind of funny. Like I
Yeah,
tried the pre-training, I tried fasted pre-training, pre-bed, like splitting it all up, and it just becomes so tedious.
it
It's like
does.
let's just load this up and do it at once.
I will say with pre-training, the pumps are pretty freaking crazy, even on just two
I was gonna
units.
say that was my favorite outside of before bed. That's my favorite time probably
Yeah.
to implement is pre-training. The pumps are
Yeah.
like skin splitting.
If someone was not going to do insulin pre-workout and only do it post-workout, I would say GH pre would be pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah,
Little
because
GH free than the insulin post. That might be actually a great idea.
yeah, have you ever
Synergy with
experimented
insulin.
much with peri-workout insulin before, or have you done mostly Lantus in the past?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of the peri workout, like 5 to 10 IUs with
Hmm.
with an intra drink, and then I've tried also like the bolus doses
Yeah.
after with a post workout meal, like 20 units with a post workout meal, kind of like the Milos approach.
Yeah.
Tried that for a little bit,
Well, the
but
the meals approach is
I
doing
feel
it
like my
both pre and post, like
uh,
20 units pre, 20 units post.
20 pre, 20 post.
Yeah.
I tried, I would say not as many units as he would like to
Yeah.
use, but kind of his like timing with things.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like my body composition just maybe my training needed to be
I agree.
a little bit more high volume, but I feel like my body composition just wasn't looking better doing that. So I pulled it out. I stopped
Yeah.
doing it.
I think for a lot of us, insulin does not need to be used as a driver for growth. It needs to be used as a side effect management tool. And it took me years to come to this conclusion. But through just trial and error and finally beating it into my skull, and especially listening to a lot of Joe's content, I'm like, okay, looking at it here, what do we actually want from insulin, right? Like the potential harm to body composition of going overdoing it is just too high, especially if you're someone
Yeah,
that is prone to it. Now, if you're one of these guys who is like a marathon runner by genetic, like they're just lean all the time no matter what, they're the hard gainers. That's someone you can slam with insulin. But me, I'm
yeah.
naturally fat, so I can't do that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. Like it starts going backwards pretty quickly.
Mm.
Especially doing it multiple days or something like that. I could
Yeah.
see maybe a leg day hammering, and I might try that when I start pushing food a little bit.
Hmm.
Leg day doing a little bit higher insulin or a lagging body part.
Yeah.
But like daily and stuff like that, my body composition just went right down the
100%.
right down the shitter pretty quick.
Yeah, and I noticed that a little bit with Lantis, but not nearly as much with Human. Human Log does that way more,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
especially if
And
your
maybe it's a
dietary
dose
fats are
thing
higher
too.
too.
Yeah, maybe it's a dose thing too. Like maybe if you are somebody like that, maybe just taking like 3 units pre-workout or just getting that like microdosing it.
For me, that
Because I always
wasn't the
just get a
case
little
personally.
carried away. I'm always like just 10 units or 20 with a meal or something like that. And obviously my carbs are paired with that, but
Hmm.
I never have really tried like the way lower dose, but I've heard of people doing that too.
Yeah, well, so to me, on paper at least, when you are injecting that exogenous insulin, you are causing your body to store how, and I guess the amount would play effect there, but it's going to store something, even a small amount. If it's 2 to 3 units, 1 unit's probably not going to do that. But if it's like 2 to 3, 4 units, something like that, I would imagine your body is still going to go more towards storage than anything. That's just how I would think about
Yeah,
it. I guess it just depends on the person.
definitely.
But for me personally, and like you've said as well, I can't get away with that. I really like pre-workout insulin because pre-workout insulin seems to not do that for me. The Humalog, if I keep it, to like 5 to 10 units, 6 to 10 more likely. But post-workout insulin, that is where I notice more of the storage because I'm not getting an opportunity to burn anything up, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of noticed that as well. Like if I only did it pre, it was more beneficial,
Yep.
just great pumps and stuff like that. But when I started implementing it with meals, yeah, I guess we probably have the same situation.
Hmm.
It was like it was all going to storage. I didn't have that chance to actually burn off any floating glucose or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. And I do think that having a bit of a higher volume training style with that being in play makes sense. Um, so the way I've kind of come to understand how my body needs to grow is on stuff like arms, delts, and legs as well. I need pretty high volume. Like I'm doing on rear delts yesterday. I had a 30 rep set on rear delt flies. Today
Nice.
on side raises 30 rep sets. Um, Legs on Saturday, I won't do less than 15 reps on any exercise except for like hamstring curls and maybe RDLs. That's it.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
so
I'm
like
kind of
those are
finding that as
days where I
well.
could use insulin pre workout maybe on those days because they're kind of higher volume, almost pump days. And on my arm and shoulder day, there's timed rest to 90 seconds. That's how Joe likes to set it up, and that's I was doing 120 before that. But that day, 100% pre workout insulin would probably be good because of the amount of sarcoplasmic growth that you're going on there just from metabolic stress essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, that metabolic fucking just getting that crazy pump. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I'm probably coming to that same conclusion, man. We talked a little bit about it last
Hmm.
time with the training, just the higher rep sets and stuff for
Yeah.
I guess you could just essentially say limbs, like legs, arms, delts.
Yeah.
And dude, it's interesting how it works because you almost think like if I'm not squatting 7 plates on the hack, then my legs aren't going to be huge. But then, you put four on there and rep it out 15, 20 times and they look way bigger, just that fullness that they get. So there's something to that, man. That's
100%.
something I really need to improve, dude. I am in dire need of big legs. So
It's yeah, they've been my
whatever I need to
biggest
do.
they've been my biggest weakness, but they've also been the body part I've been able to improve the most. So I 100% get where you're coming from. For me, it's just been I've always been someone who's had really limited mobility. I've never been super flexible, stuff like that. So for me, it's been making sure I bottom out on my hack squats and on my leg press. And then another thing too,
Getting all
yeah, how Joe has me set up my leg extensions has been just night and day for quad growth. I think I could walk into the gym now, do 3 sets on leg extensions. I could walk out and I grew that day. But it's the tempo is like, so starting at the bottom, you explode up as quick as you can with aggressive effort. You hold and squeeze for a good long period, like 2 to 3 seconds. And then that negative, slow, painful, deliberate, like as long as you can, basically. My 20 plus rep sets on leg extensions take anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes per set.
yeah, that's a grinder right there. Yeah, I'd say three of those, you're probably ready to. You're like, all right,
Yeah,
we're good on extensions.
for sure. And I have 3 of those on my leg day right now. I'm gonna let it play out a bit longer because we do still have the cycle building up and everything. But I'm considering being like, hey, I think we need to lower this to 2 sets because it's almost too much.
Yeah, yeah, and especially if you're connecting with it
Mhm.
really well, like, and you're, getting that full stimulus out of two.
Yeah,
You never know. You might be better off only doing two. But
potentially.
that's the big question: is it better? Should we do the third? If or are you better off to stop? And
I think it depends. So if you have 2 leg days in a week, I think you're better off to stop. But if you only have one leg day, I'd say just send it and do as much as you can recover from. Honestly,
full send. Yeah,
yeah. And
especially if the food's there. I
I,
could I could agree with that for sure.
I kind of prefer having 2 leg days. So I'm on a 4 day split right now. The thing I like better about the 5 day split is just having 2 leg days. Honestly, because
Yeah.
you can have a split between a more quad focused day and then a more my hamstrings aren't a weakness, so it's more of like a specifically glute focused day on the second day that we had.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd prefer that too, because I feel like you almost doing a full leg day, like
Yeah,
hams, fully trained quads and all that. That's a lot, man. Especially if you're doing a higher volume training,
yeah,
splitting it up. I feel like you're not going to be able to go 100% on every set if it's all in one day.
yeah,
But if you
100%.
split it up, for sure. That's how mine are too. It's ham and glutes is with my back day, and then
Oh, okay.
quads and squatting patterns are on leg days with hams as well,
Hmm.
and then adductors and all that good stuff.
I
So
did that for a long time. I would have a posterior day where I did most of my heavy rows, deadlifts, glutes, hams, stuff like that. That would be kind of my second back day and my second leg day is how I would do it. But
yeah,
that was too much. I can't have two back days personally.
yeah. I'm kidding. I had to for the longest, and I'm condensing that down to essentially like you did, like a posterior day with a couple pull downs and stuff like that. A couple rows. I'm gonna see how that goes. That's kind of my plan for this rebound. Just see how that, because I haven't done this split other than the last 4 weeks of prep. I was kind of rolling like this.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna see how it goes for this rebound and if I need to change anything or if I can keep progressing with this, because I was doing like a 6 day split push pull
Yeah.
legs A and then B
Hmm.
for the longest time.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think you're someone where you've moved past that. I don't think you need push pull legs anymore. I think you are at the point now to where you just need specificity. Because I mean, legit, man, I don't think you need any more cells on your back at all. And like your back is
Yeah.
such a large muscle group that it's going to take away a lot of that recovery budget. So it's just going to. I mean, again, I do think that playing on your strength and making your strength stronger is always a good thing. But at the same time, though, it's like we can kind of almost bring it like the back is exceptional. It doesn't need it. So let's use that budget to kind of get everything else a boost.
And I feel like that's, yeah, you're 100% right. I feel like that has been a lot of, what's happened is I connect so well with my back. It
Mm,
does take a lot of recovery and nutrients
for sure.
versus my legs is something that I don't connect as well with and I need to work on a lot more. So I feel like I could smash my legs and maybe because the connection isn't quite as there as it would be with the back, the recovery is I recover a lot quicker where I could do maybe half the volume on back, but I connect so well and I feel
Yeah.
every rep so much that it's like I'm smoked after just one back day with, like I
Well,
said, maybe even half the volume. So
when I was
there's something
doing
to that for sure.
for sure, when I was doing my own thing, man, I had two back days, and I can tell you each of them were at least 20 sets per day. Now I think my back work on pull day I think is like 11 sets. My back is growing. So if that
Nice.
quality is there, the quantity is really irrelevant. And this is actually something that I was talking with earlier with a former client. Um, we were just talking about training styles and stuff because he's kind of transitioned into more of like a not serious phase when it comes to like putting on size and stuff like that. Basically, just kind of fucking around in the gym doing stuff for fun. So we were talking about training styles and stuff like that. And he knows how much my approach with training has changed. And it was like, well, what you're going to learn a lot from XYZ. And I was like, well, I already have learned a lot. And the main thing that I've learned from working with Joe is rep quality matters more than like set accumulation. I would rather have one set with 20 perfect reps than three sets of 10 and they're all eh.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
haphazard reps. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure.
So I'm just searching for like
Especially,
each rep to be perfect is what I'm searching for.
yeah, getting that perfect connection with each one,
Yeah.
feeling it all the way through.
And I think
Yeah,
that's
I'm
really
trying to
what
do
junk
that.
volume is, honestly. Junk volume is doing too many sets because you aren't connecting to the reps within the sets. And I did that for
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I was bad about that for a long time too. It'd be like, well, you're cranking out just leg extensions going fast or something like that.
Yep.
Where now I've kind of taken an approach like you, like that really deliberate, negative,
Mhm.
just making everything essentially make it hurt as much as I can on
Yeah.
every movement, as
Every body
slow as
part,
I
too.
can. Yeah. Yep.
Like
The
we have
more like
our core
move
movements,
it
but
as inefficiently as we can, basically. Like we're
exactly.
powerlifting, it's all about efficiency. I'm trying to make it like as hard and inefficient as possible,
We're
basically.
trying to train like bodybuilders. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's also something I
Yep.
said to him is like, I'm finally training like a bodybuilder. I'm not just moving weight.
Not just moving weights anymore.
And the
Exactly.
thing is
Like these
too,
are just our little scalpels to
exactly.
craft what we want here.
Yeah, and once you learn to do that, you can still get strong. That's the thing. I was incline right before I got with Joe. I was incline pressing the 130-pound dumbbells for at least 6, maybe more. Now
Nice.
and when we pulled back and changed my training style, everything like that, focused on a more controlled negative, pausing slightly at the bottom, not walking out all the way, stuff like that, typical pressing cues. I think I dropped my weight from 130. I think I had to go down to like 60 or 65-pound dumbbells to just perform the movement correctly. Now I'm back up to 90s. 90s were fairly easy today. I'm going to be at 95s next week. And then the next week I'm going to
Nice.
be at 100s. And the next week I'm going to be at 105s if all things go well.
And with that perfect form too. So
Yep.
it's like you're actually probably way stronger
Oh, yeah,
now
for sure.
because you're firing way more of that chest through that movement.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've had to do the same thing, man, because my chest kind of sucks. So I've done this very similar, scaled the weights way back to the point where same as you on an incline press, I was using like 60s, I think, for a while, and just trying to essentially feel it and
Mm-hmm.
find it. And yeah, that helped a lot. Just putting the ego at the door. Like I don't need to put the hundreds or the 120s if I'm not connecting well with it.
Exactly. And if you are, that time will come and you'll be doing it, and you'll be doing it perfectly.
Exactly.
And it's also like you're kind of resetting your progressive overload in a sense, so you can
Yeah,
ink
you're
more
giving yourself
progress.
a new thing to progress on.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of like because you still obviously keep all the size that you built from doing it the wrong way. Now you have a chance to reset the form and build even more mass doing it correctly and cleaning it up. So it's like
Yep.
it's not wasted time training that way. I wouldn't change anything. I think almost training kind of like recklessly or sloppily to a degree, as long as you're not hurting yourself in the beginning. I think that's almost kind of a good thing to a degree.
Yeah. Yeah, you just build that like intensity and like
Yeah,
you figure out how to go there and take it to failure, even though like it probably took 5 crazy shitty sets to get there, but you
yeah,
still found that failure point at some point through all that. So
for sure.
I'd agree, man, for sure.
Yeah. We're going on in about an hour and 10, hour and 15 here. Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we wrap it up?
Nah, man, I just wanted to say, dude, I am super grateful for you, man, for coming out
It was
over the
awesome, man.
weekend, dude.
I'm
Like
so glad I
that
did.
was I'm glad you did too, man. Like you didn't have to do that and you came out and dude, you got some great content and
Yeah.
just did a lot for like you did something that you don't really see people doing for amateur bodybuilding at all.
Yeah.
And so dude, I'm just grateful for you, man, honestly, and
I
what you're doing.
appreciate that, man.
And yeah, man, thank you for everything.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's the beginning of something great. We're gonna eventually get we're a little bit of a distance barrier, but nothing crazy. So we're gonna get some workouts in. Definitely would film that. That'd be pretty sick. That'd be a cool video
Yeah,
right there.
fuck yeah, dude. We're definitely going to. And I think you're only like maybe 3.5 hours of a drive away or something. So it's
Yeah,
not
something like
terrible at
that.
all. Little day trip down, get some
Yeah.
food, get some crazy training in, and
Yeah,
that'd be awesome,
like
dude.
I said, I'd have the red carpet rolled out for you and everything. I have your whole give me your diet plan, send me a little chef list, and I'll cook everything for you. And
Hey, that would be freaking funny.
I was talking with Jaden last night. We were talking about food and like the holidays and stuff coming up. Like it's a big Southern thing to like enjoy cooking for other people. And as I get older,
Yeah,
I really enjoy cooking. Like when we do Thanksgiving, I'll probably be cooking all the food for the most part.
and you enjoy doing that.
Yeah,
So you're like, I get to freaking have everyone at my house, and
yeah.
everyone's enjoying my
And
food. That's a cool thing, man.
it's also nice too because people can't really complain about you sitting there eating a Tupperware of chicken and rice when they're also eating the chicken and rice and they realize, oh, you actually know how to cook. This doesn't taste like dry ass. It tastes good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, some people think when we're eating like our Tupperwares of food that it doesn't taste good. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, I know how to make my food taste pretty good, even
yeah,
though it's same shit every day. But hey, I like it.
yeah. Hey, same thing, same time, same day. That's bodybuilding.
Yep, exactly.
But I'm gonna end it on that because that's bodybuilding. Doing the same things at the same time on the same day like clockwork for years and years, and then eventually you look pretty awesome.
Yep. Groundhog Day, baby.
Yeah. Well, this has been another episode of the Iron Nutrition podcast. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the last 5 minutes, drop a 5-minute crew comment, and I will like that because it'd be pretty cool to see if somebody made it through an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully they did. I'm pretty sure we had some cool points throughout.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. It's the quickest hour and 20 minutes of my day for sure.
hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, thank you guys all for watching.